Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to talk about the news that just dropped yesterday, which it might be even more time because I don't know when I'm uploading this video. But obviously the news dropped that obviously Punisher and Jessica Jones have been canceled from Netflix, which is not that much of a surprise. I went into season 2 of The Punisher being like, yeah, I'm not too surprised. Because, I mean, it's being clear cut in everyone's head. Like, once again, for me, the last straw was like Daredevil. Like, I knew like Daredevil, at least for me, I'm sure a lot of people were like, no, they already saw it coming. They kind of figured what this whole situation was pretty early on, especially like after Luke Cage as well. So, but for me, Daredevil was kind of be like, okay, so now going forward, like they're canceling everything, which, you know, once again, it's just kind of like, once again, like the thought has always been kind of being like, it's just not worth it for Netflix to keep it just because they've got their own other properties and it'd probably be too expensive to keep these properties. And at the same time, it's like, the fact is that they've got enough under their belt now they can draw other people in without necessarily needing the Netflix, Marvel properties to kind of draw people in. So like I said, I'm not surprised at all. Like, I am surprised that they went boom boom with it because like, they're not futzing around, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, like we already took care of, the Punisher, so let's go ahead and say, yeah, we're definitely doing the same thing with Jessica Jones. And I'll kind of say the same thing about Punisher that I did about Daredevil. The fact is that season 3 of Daredevil ended off on a place where, like, yeah, you could potentially see more coming from the show. Like, I would personally have wanted more, but it left off in a good enough place that you can be pretty satisfied. And I feel like the same thing applies to Punisher. You can definitely see like, okay, I could guess where they would have taken it in the 3rd season, but like I said, going into it, I kind of figured they were canceling. And there was like a minute part of my brain that's like, maybe, but at this point, it's like, I don't even know why even that minute part of my brain isn't like, no, like no matter how well it does or gets received, like it's the end. So it's same thing for Jessica Jones. So I'm curious, I'm very excited to see what they do with season 3. I hope it isn't set up in a situation where there is a cliffhanger ending for it, because obviously we won't get it. Because the only 2 so far that have had the very cliffhanger endings are Iron Fist and Luke Cage. Definitely with Luke Cage, but also with Iron Fist as well. So, but like I said, it's no surprise to me. What's interesting though, because obviously this is a whole topic I've constantly come back to, what I have subsequently learned like a little while back, in between this video and the previous one I talked about the same conversation, the same topic, was the fact is I learned this on the CU podcast. Pat and Ian had talked about it, and I ended up looking into it, and it's crazy to see that it is a thing of like, basically the contract says that basically there's a 2-year period where Marvel can't do anything with these characters or properties. So even if for whatever reason they decided they want to pick these particular properties back up, they would have to wait 2 years later to do it. At that point, I'm kind of like, yeah, I would assume you would just want to reboot everything. If you got, once again, it's like that depends 100% on what Disney and Marvel is going to do. They're probably not going to jump to like do anything with those properties right now anyway. Like, I don't expect them to do anything movie-wise with them. Once again, if they decide to continue as TV shows, I'd always throw out maybe continue it in animation in some shape or form. It'd be cool if you got the actors, to play their respective characters in animated form, voice them and stuff like that. That was a conversation I've thrown out there before. But once again, this all comes down to what Disney ultimately does in the end. Because, I mean, like someone had talked about this the last time I had made a video. Someone left a comment being like, Disney owns Hulu, because the whole conversation of like, oh, maybe they could bring all that stuff to Hulu, which is interesting because like I looked into it because I thought like the way that conversation was said, it was almost like they outright own Hulu, but it's like not them alone. There are a whole bunch of other companies that also own a percentage of Hulu. Now Disney potentially with the 20th Century Fox deal will own a larger share of it. Like the number I saw was like 60% because Fox owns a bit of Hulu as well, so that's definitely interesting. That once again, that's the whole thing about like Disney gobbling everything up. So that's fascinating. But once again, that's that case in my head of like, well, just because they end up, even if they did get, do some of those properties 2 years later, would they even put it on Hulu? Because currently standing, the only like Hulu property they have up there is Marvel's Runaways, and that's TV-14 compared to these shows, which are MA. So I don't know. Once again, it's that whole thing of like, well, what's Disney going to do if like it's R-rated properties, like it's MA-rated properties, like those TV shows, as well as something like Deadpool? That all comes down to what they'll do. The thing I've heard from other people, around the internet has been like, well, the fact is Disney can always do kind of a thing where it's like a subsidiary, like they have like some studio or whatever kind of under their umbrella, but not necessarily necessarily with the Disney stamp on it to produce and make these movies that are maybe R-rated. You know, that way, it, like I said, it doesn't have the Disney stamp on it, and it doesn't necessarily affect their family-friendly content in that regard. So, like I said, at the end of the day, that's just all talk, speculation, because we won't know until Disney actually makes a move, until like Disney Plus comes out, and then we'll see for ourselves of like, okay, so what are they going to do about all this stuff and going forward with the MCU and all that? Like, those are the big questions. You know, we have to wait till we get to that part, you know, because I'm sure they're still in the process of figuring all that out. They might already have a lot of stuff they've set up the groundwork for to handle that. Once again, we as the outsiders don't really know. Like I said, I am a little bummed, but once again, this whole situation is no surprise to me, though. But I am, you know, looking forward to season 3 of Jessica Jones. I'm very interested to see, you know, where they take it. So that's, you know, I still got that to look forward to. So, you know, there is a silver lining to it, you know. So my question to you guys is basically, how do you feel about this whole news about Jessica Jones and The Punisher being canceled? At the very least, you know, you're at least getting this 3rd and final season for Jessica Jones. Are you happy, bummed? Let me know how you're feeling about this, as well as, you know, the knowledge of like, oh yeah, even if Disney did, or Disney/Marvel won't do anything with these properties, they would have to wait 2 years. And also the whole conversation, once again, the R-rated, M-rated content, like what those future plans will be for that. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.